Hello, my fellow minor league nerds, and welcome to our newest Mostly Forgotten Teams episode. In this episode, I will cover the 1977 New Orleans Pelicans of the American Association, who played in the Superdome. Wait, the Superdome? That's not a baseball stadium. New Orleans' first professional team played in an early version of the Southern League in 1887. The league would not finish the season, disbanding on August 21st. The Southern League would return in 1888, once again with a team in New Orleans. Again, the league did not finish out its season, disbanding on July 4th. The Pelicans, as the team was called, would switch over to the Texas League on July 10th. Between 1892 and 1896, the Pelicans played in an early Southern Association, winning the league pennant in that last season. In 1901, a new Southern Association was formed, with the Pelicans representing the city until 1959. They would relocate to Little Rock, Arkansas, becoming the Little Rock Travelers for the last 2 seasons of the association's existence, leaving New Orleans without a team. We plan on creating an episode about the Southern Association Pelicans at some point, so stay tuned for that. The AAA American Association, which first began play in 1902, disbanded following the 1962 season, returned in 1969 as a 6-team league, adding 2 additional teams in 1970. One of those original teams was the Tulsa Oilers. The team played at Oiler Park, which first opened in 1934. By the mid-70s, it was not in good shape. In 1976, American Association President Joe Ryan stopped in New Orleans for a tour of the Louisiana Superdome. During a conversation with the stadium manager, Jim Chandler, Ryan was invited to stay overnight at the dome's expense in order to meet with state officials the next day. During his meetings, he made it clear that the American Association was not a major league. Officials did not care, as they were hoping to use a minor league team to prove that the $134 million Superdome, which opened in August of 1975, and the city were good locations for a future major league franchise. After the meetings, Ryan relayed the invitation to teams around the league. Tulsa's owner, A. Ray Smith, was eager to learn more, as Tulsa officials were not interested in building a new ballpark to replace decrepit Oiler Field, which he had to repaint annually at great expense. Smith met with state and city officials and reached an agreement to relocate his team to the Superdome for the 1977 season, becoming the first franchise relocation for this incarnation of the American Association. Like city and state officials, Smith had hoped he could use the success of his team to upgrade them to a major league franchise, as the National League was looking to expand around this time, with those plans ultimately failing. The 1-year deal to move the St. Louis Cardinals affiliate was announced on October 7, 1976. In December, it was announced that the team would be called the New Orleans Maskers, drawing on the city's Mardi Gras tradition. The name did not go over well, seeing them change their name to the Pelicans, a nod to the city's old Southern Association club. A local doctor, who hated the name Maskers, had agreed to purchase 70 season tickets to the tune of $14,000, roughly just over $72,600 today, if the name was changed to the Pelicans. They were managed by Lance Nichols, who came over from the Montreal Expos system. They played their first game in Oklahoma City on April 15th, a 4-3 loss to the 89ers. Their opening road trip also took them to Denver and Wichita, finally coming home to play their home opener on April 30th. In true New Orleans fashion, the Pelicans rode in a parade down Canal Street to the Superdome on the morning of their home opener to start the day of festivities, celebrating their first professional team in 18 years. Parade goers might have thought it was Mardi Gras season, as the players tossed out styrofoam baseballs, doubloons, and bags of peanuts from the lead float. The parade featured St. Louis Cardinals legend Stan Musial, as well as Satchel Paige, who was a team vice president. The team's opponents, the Omaha Royals, even got into the act by riding a parade float as well, also tossing out trinkets. Pre-game activities included honoring baseball legends Stan Musial, Luke Appling, Cool Papa Bell, Lloyd Wainer, Mel Parnell, Denny McLain, Paul Dean, and Allie Reynolds. In the game, the Pelicans, who came in with a 6-6 record, fell 13-8 to the Royals in front of 18,197 fans. In Major League exhibition games played the season before, the Superdome was said to have dead air, with balls having a hard time leaving the field. But that night, the teams combined hit 7 home runs with a total of 29 hits. The Pelicans would not have a good season, finishing last in the Western Division with a 57-79 record. They ended their season like they opened it, with a loss, falling 11-3 to the 89ers at the Superdome. Outfielder Benny Ayala would be the team's best hitter, finishing with a .298 average with 18 home runs and 73 RBIs in 126 games. Catcher Tom Harmon hit .292 in 94 games. Ken Oberkfell, who made his MLB debut that season with the St. Louis Cardinals on August 22nd, hit .272 with 18 doubles. He would be the last Pelican still playing ball when he retired following the 1992 season. The Pelicans were the last team Tony La Russa would play for, hitting only .188 in 50 games. The team's busiest starting pitchers would be Earl Bass, who finished 10-10 with a .356 ERA in 20 starts, and Steve Dunning, who went 8-13 with a .392 ERA in 24 starts with 10 complete games. Out of the bullpen, reliever Steve Butkus would finish 5-3 with a .395 ERA, with 59 appearances in 82 innings pitched. Johnny Sutton finished 5-4 with a .332 ERA in 42 games with 4 starts in 95 innings pitched, and Eddie Solomon finished 4-2 with a 4.2 ERA in 8 starts before being traded to Atlanta, later appearing in the majors for the Braves, going 6-6 in 18 games. The team's ERA of 4.68 was second to last in the league, only better than Denver's 5.03. Although they finished with the worst record in the league, they had the second best attendance, drawing 217,957, finishing second to the Denver Bears, who drew over 280,000. On July 21st, the Pelicans and the Superdome hosted the American Association All-Star Game, with the Texas Rangers defeating the All-Stars 9-1. 5,277 fans attended that game. While the Pelicans did have a weak squad that was short on on-field talent, 5 members of its roster eventually became managers. Tony La Russa managed for 35 seasons, winning 3 World Series before becoming a Hall of Fame baseball person in 2014. Ken Oberkfell would spend 22 years managing in both affiliated and indie ball, as well as in the Dominican Winter League. John Tamargo would spend 20 years managing and coaching in the majors and minors. Both he and Oberkfell would later return to New Orleans to manage. Tommy Sant managed at the AAA level in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, and Jim Riggleman managed 6 different clubs in the major leagues. The team and the league both lost money in New Orleans. It cost $6,000 per game, over $31,000 today, to play at the Superdome, and the team did not receive any share of the parking or concessions revenue. The Oklahoma City 89ers were the closest team to New Orleans, about 700 miles away, so the transportation costs to New Orleans was a strain on the 7 other teams in the league. In July, a series against the Evansville Triplets had to be moved due to the Superdome hosting a religious convention at the same time. The games were moved to Lampier Park, now Robin Roberts Stadium, in Springfield, Illinois. The Pelicans would win 3 of the 4 games, drawing 12,957 spectators for an average of 3,239 per game. After the season, Smith decided that the future of his franchise looked better in Springfield than it did in New Orleans, moving the team to the Illinois capital for the 1978 season, where they became the Springfield Redbirds, who in 1982 became the Louisville Redbirds and are now known as the Louisville Bats of the International League. New Orleans would not see another professional team until 1993, when the Denver Zephyrs relocated there to make room for the National League Colorado Rockies. They were briefly known as the Baby Cakes before relocating to Wichita, Kansas to become the Wind Surge following the 2019 season, and were demoted to the Double-A Texas League after MLB's takeover and restructuring of minor league baseball. Well, my fellow minor league nerds, that'll do it for this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel or to the podcast platform of your choice to be notified whenever a new episode is uploaded. Thanks for nerding out with me, and as always, be sure to never stop supporting minor league baseball and never stop learning about minor league baseball history.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Ed Rivera of the Dad Hat Chronicles. Join me as I interview people just like you and players, coaches, GMs on the path that led you to become a fan of the sport.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean, and I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTomaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey everyone, it's Eric from the great state of Kansas.
This is Johnny from the New Orleans Baby Cakes Memorial Museum.
And we are the Earn Fun Average podcast,
where we talk to a variety of guests about their love of baseball and have fun doing it.
America, lower your standards.
Average is what we do best.
This is Patrick and Corey of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball, so get on the site and find a team near you today.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
Learn more about Curved Brim Media at curvedbrimmedia.com.